Well, hello and welcome to my garage. My name is Artem, Art for short, and well, I'm into cars as some of us boys are, and I just recently started truck driving as 3 months ago. I can say since last year because well, it's beginning 2026 right now. But yeah, I think I had my intro session last summer, and then since October I joined the club because I'm a club member. I have access to the truck every single weekend, and I did over 10 days since then. So I did dig up a little bit knowledge, and I did want to have information on what I'm doing, how I'm improving hopefully. And well, I didn't have this video, so this is the reason I'm making it, because I want to make really simple explanation into lap timers for amateurs as myself and beginners. What do you guys need? Starting with the understanding the whole spectrum, what the lap timers are available for you. They start with your phone, which is in your pocket, whatever it is, Android or iPhone. It can be used as the lap timer. Up all the way to Race Logic, I think is going to be the top of the line here, the most expensive setup, most professional, most expensive setup, with multiple cameras potentially, and $4,000 as the top price for, I guess, maybe not, it can always go higher, but let's say good kit cost $4,000. So we're not focusing on either of those. We're going to be in the middle, and the reason for it being a first budget, right? If you're beginner, really beginner, and I am the beginner, you're not going to spend $4,000. But still, if you're beginner, you don't have to be so cheap and use a phone, because I don't think data going to be legit. One thing to understand is the hertz of the communication between the satellite and your device. Exchange information rate is really important. So your phone does it with 1 hertz per whatever it is. I think it's per second actually, which it's kind of low, I think, but it sounds like the right thing. And I wasn't sure if I understood this information correctly about the importance of the hertz, they matter. And on the AIM's website, which I think, it's legit people actually to do it for many years, they do explain exactly what my point is. So if 10 is red, and on this particular screen you see 8 of the 10 dots, 10 hertz dots, and 25 is in green, which is much more precise. Well, just think about where is your phone, 1 hertz is going to be. It's 10 times less than 8, so well, maximum going to see one spot here on their example, using their example of it. So that's the reason I'm completely ignoring the availability of the apps for the phone only and using my phone as lap timer, because I do want to have more legit data. And well, I'm not getting into installation of the whole system in the car with multiple camera setup and multi-phase $1,000 setup, which kind of cancels the whole Race Logic thing for me. And then with AimSol, I did a bunch of research, and I did overall bunch of research for all the devices I could find online and kind of dig into information, so you don't have to trying to make this one ultimate video for everything. AIM Solo 2 standalone $500 unit is really not functional enough to be in this video. I think it's going to become really close to this Epix 2, which is also $500 device, and well, we'll talk about it in a second. So let's start with setting my parameters and why maybe it will work for you, maybe not, what I was going from. So first, I want to have accurate data, as already mentioned. I want to have accurate enough so I can see what I can improve, what what my actual times are, not approximate times, and all the turns and everything else, like where I enter, where I brake. It's important for me to know. And then of course I want to have the video with good overlap over it, so I cannot just brag in front of my friends about what I'm doing in the truck, but show them actually how fast I am. So I can have the visual of all the data and show to instructors and get maybe some media opinions online, or whoever does know more about it than I do, so I can improve. And lastly, I need it to be portable enough, because currently I'm like 2026 goal for me is to get as much experience, as much truck driving and seat time with different cars, because I don't want to just be good at one car. I want to understand the difference between, okay, this is light and underpowered. As my Miata, this is the main thing I drive right now on the track. My secondary one, which is my kind of daily driver, is the M4, but I took it on the truck quite a few times already, and I have another one on the way, so I'm kind of this guy which never stops, but I want to be able to have the system which can be removed from one car and put into another quick enough. So building in the whole Race Logic, not even out of my budget right now for the purpose, but it's also kind of not really what I'm looking at, because eventually, yes, I'm gonna grow up with all of this hopefully and get into one car which I'll be competitive at, or somewhat competitive. The whole 2026 goal for me is to understand how much I suck compared to some people in the similar cars. But today I just try to keep it as short as possible for this format, because I do want to give as much information as I can, everything I learned so far. So it might take a while, but it's going to be in the description, the menu, how to quickly access each particular topic. And I will start from the most expensive device. We'll start from Garmin and my experience with it. So honestly, that was the last device I bought, because from the beginning kind of saw it's not exactly my case, because again, jumping between two cars when you have the wired camera and thing like this, it's a little big, let's say, for my Exocet, which didn't even have the USB charger plug, so I didn't really see it working for me really well. But I did decide to give it a try, since I couldn't just deal with one device, because the one device I bought kind of let me down. So I decided to add Garmin there, because every second person in our truck have the Garmin Catalyst. It's the most obvious. I do respect Garmin, I think they're a good brand. I have a bunch of their equipment on my jet skis for fishing. I have Garmin watch actually right here. I know them, right? So the respectful brand. And I did have really, really good initial experience when I put it in my M4. It was the first time I used Garmin, and I thought, okay, well, you know what? Despite everything I thought about at first, I'm probably going to keep it first, because it was so easy to install. So they really thought through the whole package. It seems on their listings they have just the device itself, like the tablet pretty much, and the camera. And then some guys I see doing listings with multiple accessories, looking at like you have more value, but actually they raise the price. Don't fall for it, right? Just get the basic one, because basic one has everything you need in a package. It had enough hardware to have mounts for two cars, so I had to bolt it into my Miata, my Exocet, and then I have it sucked to the windshield in my my M4, and that worked fine for me. So everything I needed, like multiple, even the camera hooks, so I can like have one permanently installed in one car and then another one in another car. I didn't need to switch. I think they have 3 different hooks to total, so 2 with the glue and 1 with like the action camera mount, and then they have all the hardware needed to move the screen itself from one car to another, including the mounting kit. So if I wanted to have it mounted in my Exo car and then just have it plugged into the USB in another, I could do it. It was everything in the box, so that's great. They really thought about everything there, and no question. Also, I really enjoyed how easy after initial setup it was, because yes, I already experienced the moment when they'll just dead battery in the GoPro, right? You have to have the connection to your 12-volt battery, so I had to have the USB installed in my Exo to use the Garmin. But after it's done, it's kind of no-brainer that everything is going to work for you every time. At least that's what I thought, and that's what I experienced in my M4. So M4 was great. I did have some data after to look at, and share with colleagues. I do see this data is not really accurate for few reasons. Sometimes it shows me that if you have a curve, and usually trying to do what you're trying to do there is have like your radius pretty much. This is your speed versus your turning speed, like when you're making a turn. It shows me sometimes that I'm making pretty much the way there. I understand maybe I'm not super accurate there, but looking at the video which goes along with that, it's obviously not what I'm doing. Like there's a good example, like here on the 180, you see how it shows that I'm going all the way to the right first, and then for some reason I'm going all the way to the left, just straight, kind of crossing the road. Which, if you look at the footage, it's not actually what's happening. I'm going straight out the corner to the left. I'm not really pushing it to the right when I'm turning already all the way 180. So I'm coming up with, let's say, from 150, 160 straight to being on the left side of the road, which is the right way to do, and the video shows it. And okay, I would understand, maybe I'm a stupid guy who's just doing this stupid thing of going right first and then left, because I'm amateur, I don't know, I'm starting, could be. But why would you recommend me to improve and do the same thing again? Okay, if you have AI built into this thing or whatever, some kind of analytical tool tells you how to improve. Well, I think the first thing to improve here is to go shortest way out of the radius straight to the left. So because of that, I feel like this data is something to consider, something to think about, but also it's not really your coach, and it's not going to be a coach. It's just data tracking. The big negative kind of side of it, because I do want to have as much info as I can from the device, you don't have the connection for OBDII, and that's why I feel this whole thing is really outdated, and I hope they're going to come up with a new one. I don't know, it just feels like this new one should be coming, because, well, first they did really big discount on the device on their website lately, And usually it's a sign for Garmin that, okay, there's something new coming. So I do hope there's new Garmin coming out, which is going to be much stronger than that and much more AI kind of improved, showing you exactly what you can do better. Good thing actually, it was the one device that I could put the headphones in, and it announces me like the best time I did or a better time I did, and when I turn earlier as suggested, so it does have clear communication. Feels like, in like in iRacing, when they have the professional team and somebody actually monitors you and tells you all this thing, you kind of get a feel of it like with the Garmin, but again, that's not always accurate. So again, because of convenience, it was kind of low from the first sight, but at the same time, when I put it into my Exo, it was really different story. I guess because it has all the vibration, it has all the wind, which also creates vibration. The whole thing first, the camera stopped working because I guess the USB came off from the vibration. The camera recorded terrible footage when it did work. So I think the camera itself has sensor on it, and because when you adjust when you position, it sees the horizon pretty well. And because of even I had the car started and I was still adjusting camera, it was going all the way like up and right and left, not understanding what's exactly going on. It's still standing still, and I couldn't make the micro adjustment. I need to kill the car first, then adjust the camera position properly, and then start again. Imagine what happens with all the wind and things like this. So I think this is what affects the video quality. Just because, and maybe this is the same thing affects the line. That's why I think sometimes at all I did this instead of what I really did in a camera, because if the footage shifts, potentially the whole understanding of the device, what I'm actually doing there, also shifts. So I think the wind altogether doesn't work, and because the Garmin has this sequence to start, when it starts with, with stop position, so you cannot move, it has to adjust to satellites, it connects to satellites, then you go to 25 miles per hour, then it start recording. I failed my second session on my Exocet with Garmin because it couldn't find the fourth satellite. So it has like a circle with the sides, and it couldn't connect to one side, I guess. Not sure why, maybe because it was close to my dashboard, but it's the only position I can really put it in. I cannot put it higher because it's going to be just blown by the wind altogether. So we couldn't connect. I was trying to fix it and go back, and reconnect, but it was just in the circle for the rest of the truck session, and well, I didn't get any data. So it was kind of disappointing that again, first camera disconnected, then the satellites, and then the whole thing just froze. I realized that it's not as reliable. I would imagine not as reliable for my open car. So if you have the windshield, if you have like a regular car, maybe it's going to be a new device. Again, it's super popular, and this kind of some thing on the back of my brain tells me that might be not coming the new version because they're selling so many. Again, every second guy literally have one of those, but they're good, right? So they're not great. They good because they're simple and they're straightforward, and they don't have to think about low batteries and things like that. But to me personally, this is not the answer, and that's exactly why I just told you. Now we're gonna organize it by price, just to have at least some kind of organization. So we're gonna step down now to the $500 device by itself. I had a little more set up than that because I needed additional, since I had two cars, I needed to buy additional plate because, well, Apex, they do have special connection type, which I guess they're a way to make extra money, same as they have the app that only works with this device. There's some devices like we can discuss next. The race box is open for pretty much all the apps. There's so many apps that can connect to it. This is locked to your Apex Pro app, and well, they charge money for the full version, which I thought maybe it should be included $500 price. I don't know, maybe just me. But they was kind of pricey, and this device I put most of my time with because, believe it or not, I'm a beginner and I'm not giving up easily. So my thoughts about this device was that I don't understand it because, well, first this one person told me that this 10 out of 10 on the coaching, and well, I thought, well, coaching is great. Our coaching at the truck is $500 per day if you want to have like instructor for you for the free 20-minute session or communication in between. And then this is $500 device which can be your coach. It's freaking great. This couldn't be saving more money than that. But after trying it for like really, I went over the return period, which I should have just sent it back because it didn't work for me, because I was trying to understand it. And I finally met the instructor who had the same device, who used the same device. I was so excited, like, okay, dude, teach me what it is. And well, what I learned, and I quote, the light is a gimmick. This is his word. My words is like light. I don't think it's necessary because first, even appearance of it, right? So I don't have a car with the shift light, which I wish I had it in my Miata because it's a manual car and I do sometimes go too far into the revs when I need to shift sooner. And this appears as the shift light which I have in my iRacing, which also I just started last year. Really helpful in iRacing, and when I have something similar on my peripheral view there, it doesn't really help with this kind of, if it's means all red by devices measures, it says I have plenty of grip, or apex as they call it, and when I have plenty of red in my mind, then I need to shift to next gear, so it doesn't really align. But besides that, like even I have so much data I try to analyze, and I just understand first I cannot trust it because, well, you can't really trust it. The only way to find if you have grip or not is just try to learn to feel it. You know your tires, the sound of your tires, you know if you have oversteer or not when you touch the wheel more, and all this kind of things. So I don't think that having device that tells you, yeah, dude, you have more grip, go for it, or saying you're in the limit is not a good idea overall. Having something that drags your attention when you, instead of trying to like finesse and feel every detail of what you're doing and have your vision on the next, like on the exit of the turn when you need to be, focus on this device to see, oh, do I have grip or not? It's just not a good idea. I don't think who would, really want it. And lastly, the device is so, again, I learned a lot from watching their videos. They have like little long videos, the seminars, which not everything works, on the website. They have like the whole learning section there, which somehow nothing really clickable, nothing works. But you can find some videos on YouTube, and I try to understand it, and I really try to kind of figure it out. I couldn't, because I do see while you're reviewing all the data after the track session, when you can sit down, you can see what we've been doing, what went, what could be better, what went wrong if something went wrong. But relying on the light telling you first, I feel like they're going to be sued at some point because somebody will wreck your car and then come to them and say, well, the device told me I had plenty of grip, but I just spun around and then hit the wall. Second, the data which it based on, its suggestion based on, is so much off. I think because, they explain that it's adjust every time, but here's an example, right? So I just had the full 10 sessions of 10 laps on the track, the full session. I came back in and I'm going back again in 40 minutes. So technically the device knows the track. I'm in the same position here. I didn't change the car, I didn't change anything. I just continued pretty much the same day, the same session. So when I'm coming out on the warm-up lap, which is usually just yellow flag, I'm going slower. I'm doing like 140, 150 sometimes, depends how slow I feel going, versus like 125 I can do when I'm pushing. And the device told me it's green into the turn. I have no grip when I know I'm 10 miles per hour away from what I usually do there, and it still shows me that it's a full epic. And well, there's also tire pressure that went from 33 psi to 47 over inflated tires, and well, the grip was completely off. And the rain, which just hit heavy as the Florida can, and it didn't start as rain, and then the rain poured. And I'm just talking about the things that I experienced, which affect how the grip is lost, and well, device would not know about it. So I'm not sure. I don't like this info. And at the same time, when I'm going really fast, I know I'm pretty much on the line. Sometimes it shows me that there's more, which I was watching my own videos so much with it. It's showing how fast the slides change, and really you cannot focus on it real time. The only reason for having it is to review this info later, to kind of analyze what could be potentially done, where it could be. But this is going to the same way as the Garmin does, which recommends you to go faster at some point, or brake later. So it's really from the same kind of idea, but presented in some kind of not really acceptable, I guess, way. And so if we ignore the lights completely, we imagine there are no lights because, again, I don't think you should be paying attention or being disturbed by this thing. I would say it's basically your race box with 10 Hertz satellite communication, so, or even like your Dragy. It has more axes, actually. It has 9 axes. I'm not sure if it's going to help in any way or not, but that's the reason I'm not a fan of this thing. I couldn't get any footage from it, any useful footage. I tried 2 GoPros, and I tried using my phone to record. My phone was the second thing I tried, and it was completely flopped because first it's recording from the phone on which the app is, and using the device only, like nothing else connected, no external cameras. It managed to record different data length between the video and its data on the device. So when I tried to upload it to try to connect them, it just tells me it's a wrong file or something, it's just longer. So I managed to connect one, and it took my horizontal video, for some reason shrunk it down to vertical, and it's flipped it on the side. It's just, I don't understand why I would do it. And then with GoPros I had no, finally I could, from the second GoPro I could synchronize one clip, which told me everything's great, timing is good, everything completely fine, and it was like second and a half off. You can see on the data from the device that I'm going 45 miles per hour, but the video shows that I'm still standing. It doesn't make sense. Support was not there at all. My first email was ignored. When I told them from second email, pretty much, you don't support, so I just switching device pretty much at this point. They finally get back to me, and back and forth, so they ended up pretty much with not really answering any questions or helping me understand what's going on even with my phone, why there's no video, but just telling me that for most people it works for most of their users. And I mean, most is what majority is 51 out of 100, so I guess I'm in 49% kind of range, but didn't work for me at all. So this is going to be the device which I do not understand, I don't recommend getting, because, well, it's overpriced what it needs to be. You have to pay for additional things, and then the only reason actually for the light, if they could maybe refresh the whole thing, refresh the whole idea, kind of ditch this, the grip thing, at least make it optional, because for me it doesn't work completely. If they would turn this light into green or red, your delta time depends of how you change UPS, because that's what matters live on the track. So I don't need to tell by device if I have grip or not, because I need to feel it, but I like to know if I approach the turn differently, if this corner I approach differently, what my new approach changes, if I'm going slower or faster, because overall, that's why we're doing track times. We're trying to be faster, we're trying to get to better lap times. So knowing live that, oh, whatever I did there, just look at this, green is growing, it's improvement, or opposite, that would be valuable. So guys, here's free advice for you developers there. Maybe you can revive this whole thing, but at this point, no, I'm not a fan, I'm not recommending. Now again, the reminder, this was before the Rise box, it was before Garmin. That was like really first device I learned a lot about, and I put a lot of my energy, and I wish I'd love it, but I would probably not record this video, and if I just buy this one thing and I'll be using it right now, I'll be focusing on my truck driving instead of recording this video about the different devices. But here I am. So the next stop is the Race Box Mini S. That's, I think, the right name. So 250 is what I paid for it. I think something like this, 260, 250. I forgot. I have them all open here with all the data there to look at. But there was my turning point when I finally had a device which I absolutely fell in love with. But then I discovered Dragy. So let's not go too far. Let's start with the Race Box Pro. It was out of the box, exciting, because it does has this little nut there built in for it's the same like as my camera actually I'm filming right now, which I do have plenty of cameras and dozen different tripods and all the mounts for cameras. So I thought, just having this little hole gives me opportunity to mount this pretty much in any of my cars, but not really. It was still kind of difficult. So I would not say this is, at least in my case, it was super useful. I needed to buy something, well, I need to buy something, I didn't buy it, I need to buy something special for mounting this thing. What I did for my test with it, I just put a little piece of double tape in the middle, just a little piece, and put it on my dashboard on the M4, and that's bringing me to the point, like, what I don't like about this device is that all the ways to attach pretty much involves some kind of adhesion put to your dashboard or wherever you're gonna mount this camera. If I'm BMW guy, it's not like so sensitive, but I did kind of feel not really great when I was peeling the thing off my dashboard. I didn't know if I'm peeling dashboard at this point or not. But if you're a Ferrari guy or something like that, your laser kind of cool dashboard with all the stitching thing like that, and yeah, I don't know, I'm not a fan of this idea. So mounting wise, this is not great, and I learned it after because I got a Dragy. But otherwise, I discovered the Race Chrono Pro app, $20. absolutely recommend it. It was life-changing for me because everything just fell into places finally and worked. This thing worked as a champ, besides again some minor things with the mounting. Maybe it's my personal thing. I think this is the great product and absolutely love it. The Race Chrono app, the Pro version, everything you ever wanted. Everything that the Apex guys was able to show me as their super detailed data, they have it all. And I think even more important because they can have 2 videos from like 2 different sessions overlapped playing, and they accurate, the video is accurate. And if you're not accurate, you have the adjustment, you have like a micro adjustment there for milliseconds. You can do manually if you see something's off, but it's everything is so well made, everything is so easy. You can connect multiple devices. So I have in my Race Chrono this box connected, the race box, and then I have Dragy. I could switch from one to another very quickly. I can use my phone if I wanted, which I don't. I can put multiple cameras, multiple GoPros, and also switch, if one died battery, I can quickly switch from one to another and they're going to be in the memory. Everything is thought through. All the data, there's so many different channels you can change and play and again overlap 2 different sessions for pretty much anything. This is how you analyze, this is how you learn. So absolutely, 5 out of 5 or whatever, 10 out of 10 for this app, and $20 well spent. So for anybody on my level, if you're a beginner, if you're just getting into this, even using your phone alone without like external GoPro camera is the way to go, I feel like, with the Race Chrono app. It was a great surprise from the Race Chrono app also that it connected to my existing OBDII sensor, the Bluetooth reader, which was V-Linker. I don't think any other app, at least for once I tried, it was working with it. Definitely the Apex didn't work with it because I did try, and I was like, bonus I didn't expect, so I had all my data from the car as well, combined with all the extensive data from the satellites and from the GPS device. It was just great, there was like best day ever for me to discover the combination of Race Pro Chrono with, it's always going to be in my heart, the Race Box Pro Race Box Mini S, I'm sorry, just because it was the first to bring this joy to me, and then Dragy. But I think you can do, and they confirm it on their website, you can do multiple camera overlap with like, picture-in-picture kind of thing there, which absolutely great because that's all I wanted. I needed to have what I'm seeing in front of me, kind of, track it, what I'm doing there, how my car behaves, and I needed to put the camera like seeing my inputs, my steering, and what I'm doing with my foot, like I don't get idea how I'm stuck at the, at the downshifts with the right foot action. And that's everything in the same app, so good. And the thing is, this is open to so many different apps. I started doing some research on it, and there's quite a few apps with different kind of fix and specifications, I would say. So I'm gonna keep this device for sure to do more research, what other apps can be. Maybe something's gonna really blow my mind more than the Race Chrono. But at this point, like absolutely, I'm sticking to Race Chrono. I think it's absolutely great. And there's one interesting thing between this and the Dragy, which I can see in my Race Chrono, because it shows so much details on any information, any channel I want to see. It shows you how many satellites you lock up to at the moment, any given moment, and then what's the actual exchange rate with the satellite. So your hertz, it's shown live. So somehow this was connected usually like 15, 16 satellites, while Dragy was doubling its amount. It was hitting like 30, 32 satellites. But this thing kept stable for 25 hertz rate, exchange rate, which I think believable because I did see some other reviewers with the drag race especially. They did prove that not Dragy Pro, but the previous generation Dragy had a worse this had better accuracy than the Dragy. I'm not sure Dragy Pro gonna win now because, well, there was no such video. I'm not yet ready for doing this kind of video. I'm gonna collect information, make hopefully one. But the data shows that, yeah, this is more stable, but less satellites. What is better? I honestly don't know. I think maybe, the exchange rate is more important, as the satellites, how often it gives a signal versus how many satellites you locked into. So maybe it's going to come up still in the window in accuracy, but really, really close. And then I do see discrepancy in accurate, like in the time between 2 devices, all devices actually, all of them. But I do believe that those 2 Dragy and the Racebox Mini S, because they both 25 Hertz, they come to be more accurate than Apex or the Garmin, because the Apex and Garmin, they're both 10 Hertz. And you know, when I see the bigger discrepancy in time, so between those two devices, it feels like there's less than between one of this and one of other two, simply because probably some accuracy is on this thing. It can be up to, I think, 0.3, which like for third of the 300ths of the second, versus this, which they don't disclose, but I understand if it's so much less hertz there, that's going to be probably like your 0.7, I mean 0.7, 700ths of the second. And speaking of apps, there's again so many things to discover. I think I installed all of ones I could find, anything with truck or racing or like anything related to this kind of data. And some of them were really obvious, like Truck Addict. I think they used to have like a glory at some days, because I think they still top reviewed app on the Apple Store, at least for the Apple. And unfortunately, when I realized, because I first installed it, I was super excited because this is my reward now, this is most reviews are gonna be there. I realized it kind of feels outdated, and then I checked in Apple Store, the both versions, the Pro, which is the paid, and the regular one, they both updated 3 years ago, which was 2025, 3 years ago. So I think it's like 2022 when it was last updated. And then they have the other software for, I forgot what its name, for syncing the footage, like if you have multiple kind of thing like that, multiple devices. It's also like, I think something happened to the company, maybe to the guys, because it feels like the whole website and everything else is really outdated. The one thing I should say also, like into cons kind of for this thing, I couldn't use their own software because they do have their own app, just because it didn't work for me. Their app requires you to log in and register in order to use it. And to register, you need to verify your email. Well, I even tried using my Gmail and I couldn't get the verification email. It's never arrived. I thought maybe it'll arrive later. Sometimes, you know, it does come in 2 hours. It never did. I tried like 3 times and I couldn't get this, so I just gave up on it. I never tried the Racebox own software. I might need to give it a try, but it's gonna probably come later. Now, again, so this is a device I think I'm okay with, because again, I fell in love before I met Dragy. And well, this is my champion currently. I think you already understood this since it's the last one in the video. Look at the size of it. So it's, if I do comparison like side by side, according to comparison of like technology, this actually has more technology than that. And this is like 2.5 size smaller. So it's so small. It has more powerful magnets. So for me, it was so easy to put this in my Exo. I just put it in between seats on the magnet. Like you hear it, how strong it is, attaches. This also has 2 magnets on the sides, but they are pretty much half. Yeah, you can even hear it, I think, the difference. I did this little video test kind of showing the best way I could the difference between how one magnet holding versus another. And yeah, they absolutely win for Dragy. I have no problem even putting like in a roof and somewhere. I know it's going to be there when I get out of the car, because it's so strong. It's so good. Besides magnetic function, they have this really small and elegant attachments for your windshield, in 2 different ways. It's like really, I think, so basic but so functional. It's really thought through. Because of the price difference and because of the size of this thing, this is absolutely my champion. I'm gonna put it in, just to have it in my bag or always with me, even if I have the other device, even if I'm gonna grow up to having like the race logic or something like this. Imagine you come to a track and something doesn't work, which happens, device didn't, some wire came off or just, it died. This technology happens. Having the secondary thing for which you paid $150 and $20 for the app, absolutely yes. Save the day, you'll have data, and I would just even for me, it's probably going to be the main device for the near future, but even as a secondary, absolutely recommend. $150 is the money well spent. The only thing it started with me kind of in an interesting way, because it was actually the first device I bought. As many of us, I just went to Amazon when I needed my first lap timer before the Apex, because it was a result of my research and why it's so kind of pissed and recording the video to show that you don't really need one of those. Because after research, I found that this is the thing I need. But the first thing I bought was Dragy off Amazon, because it had all the good reviews and things like that. And they had only their app available because it was actually July, right before they announced the partnership with the race Chrono, which not this, but the app. So their own device, their own Dragy app, I think, called, with 0 reviews currently on App Store, and I don't want to be the first to give them the real review what I think about it, but I think their app sucks. Simply because it's the only app from everything I discovered, and I have my full following, like, you know, dozen apps on my phone. It's the only one which doesn't keep your phone active while you're in app. You know, this should be like YouTube. If you're watching video, it knows, like, you know what, no, in 30 seconds I'm just going to sleep. So I had the truck day, which was actually my very first one intro, which I needed information from my initial kind of like what I'm doing for the first time. That I was curious, and it couldn't record anything because first it has a custom truck, so I did set like start finish line. I was everything prepared. I'm ready to go, and when I need to click go, I just realized my phone is off, and I need to put the password there and everything else because it doesn't recognize my face and in the helmet and everything. So I just, okay, I give up. I'm gonna miss the first session. The second session, I prepared everything. I even started before going into the line, so it started early. It was running. It screen turned off, but somehow didn't record anything. It knows that it was on for like a long time, but start finish line there, I crossed it many times, and it never recorded in a single lap. So I don't know, I was not impressed with their apps. So this is the big downside, I think, for Dragy. If they want to improve their own app, they should work on it. I'm not going to leave any reviews there, but definitely something to work on. But if you combine this with the race chrono, this is the thing. This is the device. So anyways, I think that's it for now. I think it was I hope it was helpful. If it was, please leave me a comment and, you know, like, subscribe, all these other things. If you didn't like it, if you think this is a waste of your time, also please leave me a comment and dislike and subscribe, so I can, you know, make your life more miserable next time as well. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.